Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live launch of Kelly Van Nelson's #6 book, Retrospective. Congratulations. Yes. Hold it up at the same time. We'll get that.
There you go. We'll do that. I've even painted my nails purple. Look at that.
I'm hiding mine. Mine have just done the dishes.
There you go. No, I've gone purple nails. Beautiful. In honor of book #6.
Kelly, Retrospective is your third poetry book, and you've brought out your poetry books in special editions, and and this is a winner, isn't it? It was such a fun book for you to do. Can you share with everyone why this was such a fun book for you to do?
Yeah, I was on a completely different pathway with this book when I started out trying to write the next poetry book. I was writing corporate poetry. I was writing rat race stuff. I was writing all kinds of different things around the environment and everything, and I just didn't get into the kind of groove. And we actually, I think, had a chat about it, Karen, that I was like, it wasn't a writer's block or anything. I was writing stuff, but I wasn't in the zone, and I didn't get the full kind of like feels for it. And so I stopped for a few weeks, and I think I was walking one day. I had the headphones in. I'm always walking the dog when I have my most creative moments. Yeah. And I ended up coming up with this thing that, all right, I'm going to go back to the childhood youth and write this retrospective book about growing up in the Northeast, growing up on a council estate, being from a working class environment, and being proud of it, and like embracing what childhood has brought. It was a tough childhood, and I had spoke a lot about that in poetry before, and I still do, but just maybe sort of having a bit of fun with it. Yeah. And getting back to the Northeast roots. So I had the idea, and literally about 3 months later, I had the book. It came, the flow came easy. I enjoyed it. I did a lot of spoken word events already with some of the poems to test the material, and that all like seemed to get good momentum. And I just had real fun. It just totally flowed after that. So it was an easy book to write in the end, although the beginning was a little bit bumpy.
And I remember that conversation. I remember that conversation. I was like, oh my goodness, a retro. Like that is so now, because everything was coming back, everything's coming back. And like, I remember that time, and, we've just come through COVID, our poor kids have that memory, whereas we have this memory of everything being retro.
Yeah, like everything 80s, and there's a bit of an 80s vibe. A lot of it's got bits of music as well. We can talk about that in a sec, but I did little bits of music in this sort of pop culture era, and little retro things that are very 80s around Pac-Man and around lack of technology and just different kind of things in youth, and the sweet shops and the stuff that's gone, and we remember it, and I remember it in a fond kind of way. Yeah. So all these kind of like memories came back of just growing up and being out playing on the streets, and it being a good thing.
Yeah. And the freedom of that, and also there was no Facebook at that time.
Yeah, there was nothing. I did have a computer. One of the poems had said that I had a computer, but I think it was a dot matrix printer, if anyone remembers dot matrix, with a little holes down the sides. And then the software that I had was Pac-Man. I used to play. It wasn't called Pac-Man. It was like the knockoff version of Pac-Man. It was called Snapper. It was the kind of guy, eating all the dots, and that was it. That was what we had.
I had a player, and I think, and with the cassette games, the way you had the cassette games, like wow, and it was like totally, coming from Ireland, living out in the country. I was like, what is this thing? A computer, it was crazy. It was hilarious, but so much fun. And going back to that and reminiscing and bringing people back to that, you do it so well in your poetry, but it's not just about a book. You do visuals as well, and you're out there on poetry slams, and the book's obviously a product that people can buy. Have on their shelves to delve into your work, pretty whenever they want, and it's just a delight, I have to admit. But you do a lot of YouTube videos and things like that. Like the trailer you had for today was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I've got really into this. I mean, I'm actually not I work in a tech kind of space a bit, but I'm not highly technical. But I love playing with visual poetry now. And I have this beautiful benefit of my son who wants to be in film. He's kind of semi making all these films and getting in the film festivals and things in youth. And he's young, you know, and he's taught me software, and he's taught me how to get creative. He's into animation as well. So between the two of us, we have found ways to produce these really cool short 30-second to 3 minutes, not really much longer than that, little short poetry movies, or, you know, promo movies and things that have got this retro vibe. And yeah, I've got a few of them now, and I love that. I find it really relaxing at night.
It's so
Either taking
cool.
a poem, or, you know, like with a haiku. I do it a lot with haiku.
Yeah.
Taking a haiku and making it move and visual on the screen, or, you know, the typography move. And yeah, like for retro, with the theme of retro, it came nice, you know, playing with the ghetto blasters and the images, and yeah, I love it. I enjoy it.
And everything, and even the visuals of you, the retro vibe around you, and that those colors and the vibrant all, isn't it just a delight? Yes,
purple.
Paul.
Yeah, purple
Absolutely.
and cerise pink and yellow, and that's my daughter. So I have a 15-year-old daughter who has helped me to find a new kind of image that goes with retro. We got the blue eyeshadow on and everything, but we've had a lot of photograph kind of things going on and images, you know. So yeah, I feel good, I feel well and healthy, and she has been sort of helping me with the whole image to make it quite cool and hip, and that's been good.
The thing is, as well, you can just say that online, you're just enjoying it so much, the lead up to this one. And it's not that you didn't enjoy the lead up to the other one. They're a high vibe fun. You know, we'll talk about Punch and Judy hitting #1 again. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's talk about the cover here. So all three of your covers have been designed by the same cover designer. So let's talk about that and how this came to be, because it's amazing. It's just absolutely retrospective.
Yeah, he's awesome. So my cover designer is Tommy Woodward, and he designed my website originally. I met him on a writing retreat in Wales with Tess Woods, who's his mum, and he and I gelled. We had a nice chat about my whole image that I was looking for at the time, and he got it, and I've worked with him ever since, and you know, with you, Karen, with the designs. And the first two books, I had quite a strong idea of what I wanted. So he took my concepts and then really got the two covers going. But this time it was the reverse. I sent him a couple of images saying, I'm going for this 80s vibe, and I want some bright, vibrant colors. And it's based around Newcastle and growing up on the streets. And I want this kind of 80s look, and that was it. And then he came back with, literally, this was the only design. There were no other concepts, and we both said that's it. And the reason I loved it, he's put the time bridge on the front, which you probably can't quite see on the screen, but you'll see on the book. He came up with the colors and the whole kind of look and feel, which is spot on. But then he intricately designed the Newcastle, the whole skyline's Newcastle, with the keep and the whole kind of quayside and the bridge, and I just loved it. He's amazing. He's got such a cool design eye, and he gets exactly what I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah, it's absolutely a collaboration made in heaven, and he takes the time to really just get the feel and vibe of the book, works with you closely, and then just hits the mark. It's just amazing. It's amazing to watch young talent shine through, and these opportunities help him be visible and to see that. So yeah, you can check out Thomas Woodward if you want to go and check him out. So let's talk about Retrospective, and then you might just read a poem for us. Is that okay?
So I will definitely do that. Yeah.
I want to share my screen a minute just to show you how many poems are in this book. You know, you're not going to be short of things to read. So here we are. This is the contents page, and so there's 3 sections. So there's another brick. There's Ain't No Love, and there's Don't Look Back. Okay, and we share you know, something from another brick now in a minute. But can you talk to us about this imagery here? And this was specially designed for the book.
It was, yeah. So again, I wanted this book to be a little bit unique and different, and I knew I wanted the 3 chapters, which we're going to have a quick look at now. But I engaged an artist that I had already been seeing their work across Instagram, and I had been introduced by a friend of mine who I do poetry podcast with, Miriam Heckman, introduced me to this artist. And yeah, he custom designs really these pieces of art. And again, I sent him a few messages and engaged him to do this design. And I just said, I want a strong looking lady with the ghetto blaster against her ear. And he sent me a couple of images, and we've gone with this one. I've got some color versions of it I'm going to use on social media in the next few days. But yeah, it's JP Rubin, JP_Rubin on Instagram, and you can see his images. But he literally hand designed this, and it was again a one-off. As soon as I saw it, I wanted it, and we were done. And I love it. I love it. I love it.
Isn't it amazing? Like, you are an absolute testament that when you set an intention, the people that you need present themselves in front of you, isn't it? Though, whenever you say, oh, right, this is what I want to achieve, then the people just kind of just come to you that you need to make it happen. You know, publishing 6 books in 2 years is no mean feat. You know, it really isn't. So what are we going to read, Kelly?
So chapter 1 is called Another Brick, and it's got a Pink Floyd vibe. And the reason I picked Another Brick for the chapter is that I talk a bit about youth and education and growing up at school. So maybe there's one, I think, in this section, which is either we can do Breaking the Rules, or there's one called...
Let me just see.
Have a look, I'll tell you.
You'll see it when it comes.
I might have missed it as I was busy talking to you, actually.
There's Breaking the Rules.
I can do Breaking the Rules. Yep, easy. Let's do this one. So yeah, this one is really about education, and most people who know me well know I left school at 16.
Me too.
And my school was challenging. Did you? Yeah. But hey, look, we're creative souls, and we're doing our thing. So I don't regret it. And yeah, you find your way, and it makes you the person that you are. And we just didn't have the money. I lived in, a council concrete jungle. There wasn't dollars there to go on to further education. I did really well in the GCSEs, but couldn't go on. And there's
first job, Kelly.
First job. I had 3 first jobs. I was sweeping floors at 13. In fact, it's in the poem, so let's just do the poem.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I started work at 13. All right, let's do this. Zoom in, I can see. Here we go. I broke every rule when I graduated school at 16 with certificates filled with GCSEs, grade A, but still no university degree. I couldn't afford to pay the fee when everything I earned from sweeping floors at the hairdressers, serving 6-pack bread buns in the bakers, flipping burgers wrapped in greaseproof paper, went to paying the council official dividends, courtesy of government lip service assistance for the 4 walls of rough-cast housing camouflaged in a concrete jungle. Even the SAS would struggle to rescue the girl who always knew life came with a renewed daily mission. I broke every rule when I became a mule, smuggling my underage innocence beneath feigned self-confidence onto the bus to London down a one-way street travelling from Newcastle, on a ticket bought without parental guidance, because even though they say blood is thicker than water, it can also clot the veins, and I wanted to cut the reins from my mother and never look back, and Papa didn't care since the day he left me standing alone there while he rushed upstairs with a burst artery that flooded his heart with bleeding instead of beating, never coming back downstairs again to see the girl cut off her pigtails to transform into someone that dovetails seamlessly into society. I broke every rule when I kept my cool, because nobody who comes from a broken home wants to be broken. So I survived alone in the big smoke with a few pounds tucked in my coat pocket, a pocket rocket, spending the rest on night school to show the world I was no fool. Even though the Queen's English evaded thee and privilege passed over me, I was damn smart, playing the part, refining my art, giving myself a kickstart, following premeditated flow chart into a job, answering the phone, faxing memo, trying to erase the memories of neglected younger years and all the deeply rooted fears that I was never going to be good enough, and imposter syndrome would forever be my only companion. I broke every rule not to be cruel, but to be kind to myself when my boss chose to remind me that I had made it so far as to fly the cuckoo's nest, and I should never rest until I succeeded in making the migration from there to here worthwhile, never clipping my own frantically flapping wings, because only you can spread those wings and fly so high. I could well see Papa, and he might just see the woman I'd grown up to be. I broke every rule when I put on a jewel hat, corporate executive with feather in my cap, and a cap in my hand, working 24/7, building organizational brand before the darkness sets in. and the sad hustle kicks in as a poet with deeply rooted scars ingrained in a sonnet, with that feathering cap overshadowed in mental pain from the threat from a sting of a bee in the bonnet, buzzing so loudly it's a struggle to remember that I really did cut those pigtails off. And it's time to tell tales of truth overflowing with what's real, helping to heal this soul who broke and was put back together on an open mic, bearing every crack in the spotlight, not caring if this poem is filled with so many loose threads it can never be wound on a spool, because I'm still the goddamn sharpest tool in the box that you can't box me into, because I'll always be the girl who broke every rule in the school, who grew into a woman who would rather rhyme to make a dime than recline and decline back into old school. That's that one, yeah.
I love
I did
it.
that one on the slammed, yeah. Yeah.
It just captures my youth too.
Yeah, that's it.
Know?
Like we just got on with it and we didn't worry about it. And I coach youths today when I go in the high schools and things that, there are different pathways you can take in life, and university is one, and higher education and trades and, sort of apprenticeships and things. But there are others. There are other ways, and you navigate your own path, and you can be successful doing your thing and follow the dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes school doesn't give you the pathway into what your calling is or what you choose to do, but you find it elsewhere. It's funny, it's all a journey, but just to know that it's okay to choose an alternative. Skylar's joined us. Hey, Skylar. Skylar says,
hey, Skylar,
I love
my partner in crime.
Your partner in crime. I love that poem so much, Kelly, she says.
Yeah, she is my partner in crime, hanging out at all kinds of horrible witching hours on the slams around the world. We've been at it hardcore, Skylar and I, since the beginning of COVID. We rock up at events in the UK, in Singapore, in New Zealand, the US. We do one in Nashville called the Midnight. Well, it's not called the Midnight Poets, but we are the Midnight Poets, poetry in the brew. And yeah, it's tiring, but we are poetry adrenaline junkies. I know people don't associate poetry with adrenaline, but we are adrenaline junkies.
Poetry is adrenaline, and it is showing up, though, isn't it? And it's a global phenomenon, since COVID. And Skylar said, yes, we sure have. The Oscars nearly killed me. I seen what you were at over Oscars weekend. Well done.
The Oscars.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, we were all in there on Oscars madness.
Well done to you guys. And, but it raises the vibration, it raises the profile and raises the brand. So good on you. It's worth it. But we, try and find the balance and catch some sleep this week if you can.
Yeah, no, we do. Every now and then we say, all right, we'll not do one today.
Yeah, I'm the same in the business world. I do calls at all times of hours, and you just have to find that balance. It's just that's the way you have to roll, otherwise you end up burning out. But Kelly, let's talk about poetry and how it is such an amazing thing. Like, look, who are we in the Oscar gift bags with? Like, to even talk about that, like what happened over the weekend. Do you want to share with everyone?
Yeah, I'll talk about this. So it was Oscars, obviously the 93rd Academy Awards. And if you've been following my journey, my first book, which is Graffiti Lane, that book was my debut book, actually, the first one out of the 6 books I've written. And that one ended up being gifted to Oscars nominees. There we go, that one. Last year it was gifted to all the nominees, all the winners. It also went to #1, and it sort of went a little bit viral, this book, and really kick-started my career. And yeah, off the back of that, I built a good relationship with the people in Hollywood and was invited back into the swag bags this year. And my second book, Punch and Judy, which is this one, it's about turbulent love and domestic violence and problematic relationships. It ended up going into Hollywood swag bags, which are given to all the Oscars nominees and winners. So everyone from Anthony Hopkins, Glenn Close, some just incredible directors as well, David Fincher and Chloe Zhao, who won Best Director for Nomadland. Like, all the celebrities got the book. And I know your book was in there as well, Karen, and Skylar's book as well. So I am not taking all the glory. There were some really great other authors in there, including you beautiful ladies. And it went viral. It got so much press. I was on the BBC in the UK, in my old town of Newcastle. So thank you, Alfie Joy, if you're going to watch this footage, who is the BBC radio presenter over there, got behind my work and was in the newspaper over there, in the Chronicle and things, and it just went all over the press. It went nuts. And Punch and Judy went back to #1 yesterday.
Yes.
As a result of that, and that book's like a year old. It's the old one now.
Yeah.
So it's unusual. It's a bit unusual for an older book to go back up the charts like that. But it was, a crazy journey.
Oh, it's amazing. It was such a joy to watch, and a complete surprise for you, isn't it? Whenever you just go, what? And look, you caught it, just to go and check. How's it doing after Oscars weekend? Wow, it's flying high. It's amazing. So it'd be awesome to have Retrospective go to #1, guys. So we've got some links that we're going to post below on Facebook, but they're on MMH Press. All of the instant links to go and grab your Kindle copy of this today, because this is where we're at now. This is the 3rd poetry book, but your 6th published book of your own, Kelly. So let's talk about all the other books. Punch and Judy, we launched. When did we launch Punch and Judy? The end of 2020?
Last year. I think it was middle. It was sometime in the middle, and it was actually in the middle of the heart of COVID. I remember we couldn't do any live events. I love doing the live events and the live poetry slams and everything. I couldn't do any. And it came out maybe mid-year, a bit before mid-year. So that was the 2nd book, and not long after, I think I had a short story collection come out as well called Rolling in the Mud. It was a collection of also gritty, urban, contemporary stories that I've built up over the last 3 or 4 years. Quite a few of them have been in literary magazines, so that one came out. Then we had a limited edition of Graffiti Lane, which was a visual blend. Again, I was fusing all my creative craziness.
I love it.
We fused all the photographs, didn't we? All the graffiti photographs from a photographer friend of mine called Paul Unstead, and we matched the beautiful street photography with the poems and created a limited edition, which is in hardback. That one came out. Then we did Globalization, which has just came out last month. And Globalization is a collection, an anthology of amazing, talented poets that I've seen around the slams and the online kind of scene that really came and emerged during COVID. And there's so much talent around the world in the poetry circuit that you don't know they're there until you can get together like this in virtual environments. And I've been lucky to make, meet this incredible bunch of people. It's like a poetry family. There's a hardcore bunch, that myself and Skylar are in there, but there's another
circle, isn't it?
It's a circle. We're so supportive.
Yeah,
and super amazing. Talented. So we hang out a lot, and we support one another. And so we decided to pull this book together. And again, it was a left field idea around how do we not lose this era that has been hard. And it was a challenging book because the material is it's everything from anger to health issues to worry to lost, being lost on earth right now, to then coming out and finding our space and finding humanity again and the earth again. So that came out, which is a compilation, and worked with some great poets on that one. And here we are on book 6.
Wow. And that's 6 of your own books. Whenever we go into the amount of books that you've been in with chapters and anthologies, it's like, wow, you have a whole shelf, I'm quite sure.
I do now have a shelf. It's behind me, actually. I never normally sit in this spot, and my house is a bit noisy tonight, but I have a spot over there. And I looked, when I put retro up there, I was like, it's like maybe, 20 books of anthology where I've got a piece of work in an anthology, and then another whole bunch of magazines and newspapers that have had literary pieces in, whether it's a short story or a poem or nonfiction. I write a fair bit of business nonfiction as well. So we
have to talk about that. That's our next conversation. Let's talk about that.
I reckon it is. I should do a nonfiction book.
We got our 3 poetries, which of course there will be more, but Retrospective is, I adore this because you can just listening to that poem. Can you read us another poem? I can't believe we're already a half an hour into this conversation.
I can. Let's do a little short one, because I did the slam long epic piece. So let's do a little shorty. Maybe might be the first one even in the 2nd chapter. The the second chapter.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah, let's do this. Second chapter is called Ain't No Love. So if anyone is a rock fan, Whitesnake sang a song called Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City.
Yeah.
And it was my father's favorite song. My father passed away in his 40s, and I have a real sadness around my relationship with my father that never really sort of quite healed. But he always used to play Whitesnake in the car when I was a very young girl, and I'm talking 5, 6, 7-year-old. That was the song that was always played. And I love Whitesnake, and I love some of their tunes refer to Newcastle around, the City Hall, which is a big music venue in Newcastle. So this is the name of the chapter, and the chapter is largely around love or lack of love. Growing up, you're searching for love in the city. It isn't there, and I was looking in the wrong places. And the whole chapter is about misplaced love and finding peace in the nightclubs, in the loud on the dance floors of the nightclubs, hanging out with my friends then. And we were party girls, and Newcastle is a party city. But there wasn't a lot of love there. There was a lot of fun there, but not a lot of love. And this whole chapter is, spotlighting the Newcastle, almost the nightlife scene, and the good and bad that went with that era.
Getting an insight into that. What poem are you going to read?
I'm going to read the first one. I think it's short, like really, really short. And this one is really just starting out on love, and it's called Interview with a Vampire Girl. We were vampires, prowling just before dusk, unaware of any underlying lust. Kids from the block bearing our fangs to attract a replacement for the back of our hands, seeking the blood of a virgin kiss to cross it off our to-do list. Still forming identities so green and young, I didn't even know how to spell tongue. Yet I remember his name and the softest mess of lips on mine in an experienced caress. Not first crush, first boyfriend, first love, or real McCoy, but first kiss is his, my vampire boy.
Remember those days?
That one. Yeah, you remember, we were all young once, and it was a good and bad era.
It all happens.
It all happened. And then there's a second little one in here as well, another really short one that I also have a real love for this poem. It's quite I have a real darkness in this poem that is maybe not quite fully recognized in it, but it's a dark poem, and it's called Charlie. I might do this one as well, and then
let me just check. I want to look inside the book that I have. Is it in the second section?
It's in the same chapter. Yeah.
Okay. Let me find it, Charlie. Where are you? Oh, there we are. Page 57. I'm away past. Are you ready? Watch out, guys. We're just gonna
look at that.
There we are. I'm getting a pro.
Don't you love this flip book, by the way? I love it. It's this is technology for you. All right, I'll do this one. Called Charlie. Grandma introduced me to Charlie, skipping a motherhood generation as she handed down that half bottle of spiced scent, packaged in a red box with silver embossed labeling, dipping me with ylang, and prue, introducing me to adulthood with a hue fit for a princess. Basking in Charlie, I mutated from a prodigy child into a fire starter, raving in downtown planet Earth, my nose so attuned with musky perfume it didn't notice the smell of Saturday nights on the dance floor. My body so sensuous it never repelled the boy at the end of the bar, looking for the garage party +1. Charlie says, always tell your mommy before you go off somewhere. But I didn't listen, Grandma. I didn't listen. That's that one.
It is. You can see the darkness in there, can't you?
Dark. Yeah, things can go horribly wrong when you're, out at night.
Yes, we know. I know.
Yeah.
It's amazing though. You're out in the freedom. It's fun, but there's also the darkness.
Yeah, you've got to look after yourself. And I'll do one in the third chapter to close the kind of conversation on this one, maybe. But the nightclub scene back then was amazing. But I try and coach girls to be strong and look after themselves as well. And I don't know if you remember the perfume. Do you remember Charlie perfume?
Yes, I was going to say that's horrible. Charlie. Yeah,
absolutely horrible.
Yeah, wasn't it red? Was it a red?
It was very red, and it was very strong. It was not expensive. It was what we wore in Newcastle.
It was a
the guys wore Old Spice, the girls wore Charlie.
It wasn't even a perfume, was it? It was a eau de toilette.
It was. That is exactly it. It was definitely less than $10, and it wasn't a eau de toilette.
You got it down the market.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely did. Yeah, down the quayside.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a sort of a bit of a darker chapter, that one, around the sort of whole nightclub scene, and a lot of the videos that you're seeing, I've got the neon, and I've got the sort of darker kind of look and feel around it, and this whole musical vibe, which I use in all the chapters. I've got a lot of music reference.
Yeah.
But that's that chapter.
Yeah.
And then just to close out the book, the last chapter is called Don't Look Back, which of course is an Oasis song. And this one is about, I went until probably the last 2 or 3 years, like really struggling with background and around so many hang-ups from childhood. Yeah. And I found a way through, a fair bit of angst actually, on finding a way just to look at it differently. Mm-hmm. And look back on childhood without any anger and without any frustration and without any hang-ups about it all, or feeling like the underdog anymore. I've got a lot of poetry about being the underdog, but I don't feel that anymore. I feel that this is it. It made me strong. It's all the scars and everything that you have come with you, and not to look back kind of with this anger anymore. So I have found a place of peace with childhood. And I think that's where the fun came in, like embracing what was good about that era and good about the working class streets and the hardship that we went through together. Yeah. And that's what this chapter is about.
Can I just, from everybody who's watching this and knows you're going, like, what the hell? Underdog, Kelly Van Nelson? Like, they don't go in the same sentence. I'm so glad that you found the freedom in that, didn't you? Whenever you seen that from a different perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter what your background is, what your troubles have been. You can take different pathways and make different choices, and and go for it, and just carve your way with what you've got as your talents, and use your strengths and everything. So yeah, I'm in a good place.
An adventure, Kelly. Where it's here to be lived.
It really is
here to be lived, and that's I can't knock off that path, because I just love life so much to the fullest, and I want everybody to, because everybody can. And it is about getting your mind around the hard times and pulling yourself through, which isn't easy sometimes, but it's worth it when you put in the effort.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. So what are we going to read in Don't Look Back?
So I'm going to do just the one out of this one, and it's to close out the sort of support of my girlfriends back in the north. I've got 2 identical twins, Angela and Emma, and this book actually, they're my
dedicated to them, isn't it?
Up front. Yeah, they were my good girlfriends when I was young, and they never had to ask what was going on. They knew what was going on, and we're always there. We went through thick and thin. We partied hard, we cried hard, we laughed hard, we danced hard. And we were always there for each other, and they're still my friends today. We live on opposite sides of the world, but we're there for one another. And when we do get together, and it's been too long, but when I get back there, it's like time has just stood still, and we just get back into the chat. And yeah, so this one is for the girls, that stand by you through life, and it's called Weather Girls.
Okay, let me find it. I think it's on the last page, isn't it?
It's towards the back, I think.
And to hang out with twins, were they identical?
They are blonde, identical hairdressers.
Are you kidding me?
Not kidding, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful inside, they're beautiful outside. And
that's
they are very good friends of mine.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, identical twins.
There we go.
There we go. So I'll finish with this last poem called The Weather Girls. For all the girls who held my hand as I cried over a boy who broke my heart, or crawled on all fours trying to drown the pain out, gratefully accepting the tissue from your clutch to mop mascara streaming down my cheeks, you are my umbrella. For all the girls who stood by my side as I unpicked words spat in anger and floundered in the pathway to forgiveness, or choked as I swallowed my pride to apologize, you are my umbrella. For all the girls who danced with me to the tune of music celebrating the beat of living in the moment, relishing being young, free and stupid, never judging mistakes, but helping me avoid another tangle with a snake, you are my umbrella. For all the girls who shared a cocktail and swallowed a maraschino cherry of a story, swearing to never break girl code in a pact you have kept until this day, you are my umbrella. For all the girls who know me not as anything other than a poet on a page, or the voice trying to mend a lifelong sore throat by pulling swollen tonsils out with an open mic and have been cheering me on from the sidelines, you are my umbrella. For all the girls who tilt their faces to the sky in appreciation of the sun coming after the rain, before turning to the girl on the sideline reflecting a dose of the light onto them to assist their growth. We don't need an umbrella. We are the weather girls. That's that one. A little short one as well.
Love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it captures the Skylar's retrospective looks fantastic, and all the photographs for all the lead up have been very, very cool. There we go. Sorry, Skylar, I couldn't see it when I was sharing the screen. I couldn't see your comments, but awesome. So, Kelly, will we officially launch? I know we can't have an in-person, but
let's do it.
We want to officially launch Retrospective into the world. Woo! Get those corks out. Blast that music.
I'm
And
going to go and have a big glass now, I think.
Do go and have a big glass. I will join you. But absolutely, have fun today. Do something to celebrate. And we look forward to seeing all of the hype and buzz around Retrospective. And we look forward to seeing it getting to #1, because we will swarm these socials and encourage everyone to grab their Kindle copy. That went live today, I must add. So guys, go and get it. Watch out for the things, for all of the links everywhere. But Kelly, thank you so much, and congratulations on book 6.
Thank you, and thank you for all of your support and publishing help on 6 books here.
Oh, it's my absolute joy. I adore being on this journey, and to think it all started with a conversation that we just had. Remember?
Yeah,
it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone watching the live stream.
Thank you, Skylar, as well, for the chit chat. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.